shout out to Absolute Streaming for making this live stream possible.
Broad Beach Cats 2021 QAFL Premiers.
Big shout out to Absolute Streaming, absolute legends.
Hey everyone, my name's Nelson. I'm one half of Absolute Streaming, and we are a live streaming company in Southeast Queensland. So we basically do recording, we do videoing, we do live sports, we do events, we do everything else. And this is our first episode of one of our recordings with a podcast at the same time. So we thought that it was a good chance for us to get out there, talk about some things that we do, tell everyone how they can maybe do some of that kind of stuff and make some discussion points on top of it, and really just show that it's achievable and what you can do and the quality that we can get out of it as well. Now with me today, I've got Michael as well, so my offsider there.
Hello. Thanks for, I'm excited about this actually, because I always get to learn something off you as well, Nelson. But yeah, I'm Michael. I'm the other half of this new company that we started not too long ago. It's probably been almost 2 years, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. Since like probably inception of that, I reckon.
We worked together for a while,
Yeah.
and then we started getting a bit serious after COVID.
Yeah. So where did so we did a bit of stuff together. Before that point, what were you doing live streaming wise, Michael?
Live streaming, not a lot. I think before we started live streaming for QAFL, I probably did one wedding, one funeral, and that was it. The first one I'd say was probably back in 2019, which was just a wedding ceremony. And they contacted me, and I was quite scared to do it because I've always found live streaming quite scary. Like most people, when they hear live streaming, they get quite scared of it. And that was back when you would understand this. There's always a time where we had no equipment.
Yeah.
There's always that time. So I think I had one camera, tripod. I think I bought the A2 Mini.
Yep.
And I think I had one set of wireless goes. And I just think I might be groom, and that was it. But I remember I just didn't really know what I was doing, but it was successful because it went live, and I don't think there was an issue. And there's always a bit of a rush to live streaming as well, especially when it goes right, and sometimes when it goes wrong as well, you sort of have to think pretty quick on side, and there is a bit of a rush to it. It is very exciting, live streaming. What about yourself?
Yeah. So I mean, I think COVID brought a lot of this forward, probably than anything else. So like I was doing a bunch of I've done photography for a while now, and then I was doing that from a lot of the sports point of view with the AFL things. I mean, that was where we kind of met up anyway with doing some of the AFL stuff in Queensland, with some of the senior men's kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was doing that, and then I was down in the Gold Coast there, and I just kind of approached that was when obviously OBS and a few other things were kind of coming up, and all the free things that you could do. So then I just approached the local club there that I did photos for, and I was kind of saying, well, what about like if we did some kind of live streaming thing, if we had the recording, because we had people that were recording the games. I think it's probably you recording the game some of the time, Michael, I think somewhere.
Yeah, that's how I started. I was recording, that's how I met you.
Yeah, because we kind of I was like, well, if we can just get a feed from your camera, then we can just kind of chuck it into, I think that's what, I got the A2 Mini as well. That was just I think I got all of that before everyone in COVID decided that the A2 Mini was the main thing that they wanted. But that was where all of the HDMI to USB-C kind of converter started off, really. That was the main production switcher type thing.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that first game we met where I was filming at, there was no room for both of us, and I had to fit a HDMI cable down.
Yep.
And we didn't really even introduce each other.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, this guy's going to be there. All you're going to do is just film down a cable, and that was it.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm pretty sure the first time we did it, I'm sure you remember this, but that day was so wet and cold
Yeah. Yeah.
that my camera lens started to get a
Yeah.
bit frosty,
Yeah.
and you could not literally see the vision. It got that
Yeah.
frosty, and we had.
Yeah,
And then I think
I got a few comments about that. Yeah. It's just like,
and then you luckily had a little HD cam with you,
yeah, yeah.
and then we quickly had to switch it over while my fiance
Yeah.
got the camera,
Just sat in
went
the
to the
car.
car, turned the
Yeah.
heater on, and that was like the first quarter of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But
That was, I remember
it
people
was,
walking up and they were like, I'm watching the stream, but like, you can't see anything because there's a big smudge in the middle kind of thing. And I was like,
yeah, we can see that too. It's sort of right in
I was
front
like,
of us.
I'm not on the camera. Like, I just,
Yeah.
I'm not there. I can't do it. So
Yeah,
yeah. But that was,
fun.
and I think at one point, I think I used, like, I got some JCar, like HDMI wireless receivers, transmitter things, like that shoot at about 30 meters. And I think that was what we were trying to do because you can only take HDMI cable so long. And I think we did that to try and get it all kind of working and stuff. So it's come a long way from that kind of point there. Like, I mean, I remember taking my big desktop tower as well down, and I was like, I had this whole plastic case of desktop tower cables and monitor, and I'd sit like under the stands there and just like plug into power, and everyone's like seeing this whole setup on a table. And I was like it worked, but I think we've come a pretty long way from that kind of stuff, which is good.
The further we've come along, the more
Yeah.
basic our setup has sort of been. Kind of,
Yeah, I
it's
think we've
funny.
made it easier. Probably is the main one to.
But yeah, that's what it was back then when we
Yeah.
started. We didn't really come from a
Yeah.
background, so we just went,
Yeah.
well, like that makes sense, and then we,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was still pretty fun to get into back
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
AFL, 'cause
And
we
then
didn't
we,
know what we didn't know what we were capable of either, because this was
No.
literally all that client was interested in was just like direct feed, direct vision. I don't think we were doing a lot of scoring even back when we first started. All they
No, I
wanted
don't think
was
as much at all. Like, I think it was all put on afterwards. I think, yeah,
exactly. All they wanted was whatever the camera sees, we want to see on YouTube, on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
yeah,
And then that's when you in particular did the research, and then it was like, wow, we can do not only that, but we can like sort of match the vision and everything that we see on a broadcast you see on TV.
Oh yeah, I think from the level of what we do now compared to
Yeah.
where we started at is just like you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's really hard to look back and see how that all kind of began and how it kind of grew.
That's
But I
right.
mean now with what we offer, like from
Yeah.
look, we've not gone into 4K yet, but like I think you need to buy 700 hard drives to make it a 4K work kind of things. Like you're going to be stretching your computers, and at the end of the day, everyone's watching stuff in 1080p anyway. So
If
you know,
that people that
Oh, yeah.
tune in don't even know about the little bar down the bottom for your
YouTube.
settings.
Yeah.
So they for all we know, they're watching in like
Yeah.
whatever auto, because like YouTube especially it's like always goes like auto 440, like 1440.
Yeah. Well, I think it
So-
almost like sits at 720 most of the time. Like I've got to push it to 1080 as well. So
Yeah.
but
But
I
the
say
camera I've got now, that's 1080p, but it's got
Yeah.
like a nice sensor to it as well. So
Yeah.
it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we've kind of tried to get is the quality out of that then, basically. So, I mean, so then we've come from those kind of beginnings, like we did a lot of sport kind of stuff. I think each of us have had our own extra things, like you mentioned the wedding kind of stuff that you've had as well, and then keep doing with that. And I guess you've diversified a bit on that. I've had a few other concert type things and other type of events that we've had along. And I think we're growing with that as time does go. It just takes time.
It does. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. People still. I'm not going to say that they don't see the benefit
Yeah.
of live streaming, but they're kind of looking at it from one direction, where sometimes we've got to remind them that, you can view this anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
what we're doing. That's the benefit of it. Like,
Yeah.
nobody has to miss anything anymore.
Yeah.
That's the service that we're kind of always, offering. And some people haven't caught on to that, which is, that's fine. But, people, you got to always, remind them of how you're going to benefit from it.
Yeah, I think it's the reach that people get. That's the biggest thing. It's like, and getting prospective clients or other people that you're working with to understand what you can do with it is really hard because a lot of people just want to kind of open up their phone, just play it, and they're like, oh yeah, cool, that's a cool video. And it's like, do you know how that got there though? Like, do you know what had to do to kind of get there? And you can follow all of the other, YouTube, Facebook, whatever pages of people that show all that kind of stuff behind the scenes. But like, there's a lot of work often that goes into just making that kind of thing work. So, a lot of thinking as well, I think.
A lot of that, a lot of planning. Usually the day before, so you got a bit of admin work.
Yeah.
A lot does go into it, but it's all fun. It's all fun. It's all really fun.
And I guess that's what we tried to do, is not just be that kind of bring a camera, just shoot it and put it up, kind of whatever footage you get. Like, I think the aim for a lot of us, depending on what we've done, whether it's been football or like bodyboarding's been a big thing for us, but then also like a lot of the concert stuff and wedding stuff as well, has been to kind of get that really high quality image as well. So we're not just we're not just turning up with the man with the camera kind of thing. Like, we're actually trying to give you this high quality product. And I think the people that have like definitely appreciated that have seen that aspect, I think, and have really enjoyed that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's come out in probably the reviews that we've got from some of those people as well, where they're just like, they didn't have to do anything, or it was just like really straightforward. Like, we hardly even noticed them doing stuff. Like, it's just those kind of things is just, that's the important aspect, really.
Yeah, exactly. And our reoccurring clients, I think what they really appreciate is that they don't really have to check in on us every time we come on their job. Like, they're just like, oh, they're here, and then we go and set up, and then like the only time we see them is we say hi and bye, and we give them some footage, and that's sort of it. Like, it's sort of like one less thing for them to worry about, almost. If like they really appreciate our reliability. Which is what you want, because on days like AFL and body surfing, there's so much that goes into it, and live streaming, even for them, even though they're not doing it, it's kind of stressful. But if when we come along and do our thing, it's one less worry, really.
And I think that's what we tried to build on when we got some of our gear as well. Is just like, so we've progressed a few stages coming from just OBS and putting it out, I guess. And we now use a lot of other redundant kind of stuff, which in subsequent episodes we can kind of go over a bit more. But I think that's been something else that we've been able to push out to clients and be able to show them that it's not just a single laptop and just putting it out there. And if it goes down, it goes down. So, but like, we don't want stuff to go down, essentially. Like, we want stuff to stay up. We want to get a really high quality product. And I think the gear that we've been able to invest in as a result of that has given us that opportunity. It's allowed us to kind of like, to chase that and to say, well, yes, it looks good and it's great, but like, when it stays up forever on somewhere like YouTube, where they get those files after the game, like, they can really get quite high quality ones out of it. And I know from a lot of our like footy kind of stuff that you've kind of done, like, I think the recording type parts that people have looked at is like, that's why often they get us back from like a vision point of view as well, is just because like we've taken that time to probably understand the game and what we're shooting, as opposed to just turning up and with the camera and going like, oh yeah, this will be good enough, like it's fine. Like, is that how you kind of feel a bit about it?
I agree. Yeah. It's we always acknowledge play. It's all about the play. When it comes to sport, it's really about the players, and you got to acknowledge the players. So someone takes a good specky or a line up a goal. We go in and we acknowledge them, and we make sure we see the celebrations as well. It's kind of like, people want to see their kids or their dads on a live stream, and that's why we find it's important that we acknowledge people on the field. And we both, you and me, watch a lot of sport on TV, so we know what looks important as well. But yeah, going back to what you said about how streaming, how we just keep going and make it look interesting and entertaining. Like, a perfect example was when we were at Brighton Homes Arena. I think it was this year, maybe last year, but it was a massive storm that hit.
Yeah.
And they were umming and ahhing on whether to call off the game.
Yeah.
But it was like it was a long time before they made a decision. It was an hour of them standing around, is more lightning going to come? And we just thought, well, instead of putting a graphic up saying, back soon, let's just keep it going. We'll get some close up of puddles, and we've got kids playing in the puddles over here. We put a nice graphic up, we put some nice music up, like we we saw some players around, some spectators. Like, you got to still make it quite engaging, even if you are just filming boring stuff like rain.
Yeah.
People are still tuning in, waiting. That's if people are tuning in, you still got to
Yeah.
have a reason why they're tuning in. There's so many
Yeah.
live streams we come across from other people, and they kind of just put like this boring. Well, they don't even. At best case scenario, they kind of put a boring graphic up. Back
Yeah.
soon, or this live stream is unavailable, or they call it quits early. It's
Or they just, they cover it up and they turn the audio off potentially, and then it's just like you've
exactly.
got either like a really wide kind of locked off picture or a graphic in front of it, and there's no audio, and you've just got people sitting on because there's no commentators. Like, I mean, we love commentators for most of the sports that we do, but you just don't get them. I think that's potentially like a future thing for us to consider, but. For some of the clients that we've done in the past, it's not everywhere. And so, like, for those kind of records and streams, then we don't have we don't have someone else talking over the top of it. So when we don't have that, you need to be able to communicate to the patrons that are watching it. And so by doing that through our graphics, through our footage, through what we're kind of showing, like, we're doing basically what the broadcasts are doing. We're able to give them a really good image and to give them a really good opinion and perspective of what's going on at the field at that time. And so then they know that that's going on or that's waiting and whatever. Because we could easily just lock off a wide and go mute it and then just go, that's fine, just deal with it. But I think we care more about what they like think about that kind of product, and I guess that's probably where we've both come into it at that angle. Is like we want people to look at it and like really appreciate what that product is, and I think that's where like we've both appreciated from other sport that we've probably watched on TV and for a while, is that like you enjoy that storytelling aspect to it rather than just you're just showing it. Like I think a lot of it, and you see this with online forums and stuff talking about live streaming, is that people go, well, it's difficult now. It's like we're doing all this setup, we're doing everything else, putting really good things into it, but then mum and dad are turning up with their handy cam to just do it, and then everyone's watching that instead. I was like, yeah, like they are, and they're well entitled to do that as well. But I think that's where you've got to actually not. Like, there's no point complaining about it and whinging about it. It's like, well, how do you take that to that next level so that they don't feel like they need to do that necessarily,
Exactly. And it's always about opportunity. It's all about creating opportunity, and, like it doesn't take much for us to think of something new as well. Because like you said, we watch a lot of sport on TV. So it would be like, we see like a post-game interview or a pre-match interview, and we would just go, well, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's not hard on our end at all. Like, and why shouldn't we do that?
Yeah. I think that's the way that we've been trying to diversify with some of our gear as well, is to like kind of build that in. And it doesn't take much with a lot of it, but we've been able to provide that opportunity. We've not had the opportunity yet because it's just, it depends on when that kind of sport comes along. But like there's so much that we can do now with different cameras, with different switching, with like software, like all of this we're kind of going at the moment, it's all the same kind of stuff. So I think, there's so much roof to it that like for us to reach off. And I think rather than people complaining about like someone else doing this, it's like, nah, just show a better product, like show them what you got. And I think for us, that's been when we've done, like a big example for us comes along is when we were doing some of the football stuff, and then like I introduced replays into it. And I think that was a revelation, because it kind of, I think, stepped up, even though it wasn't like us in our current entity as what we're doing, but like live replays and sport just go so hand in hand, and the ability to just storytell with that during it, while you'll be on the camera watching stuff, but I can see what's going on, and the commentators are getting a screen so that they can see what's also going on, plus the replays. Like that nature of storytelling, I think, is just so great and so valuable that it's just was so wanted. And I think for a few places now, they've kind of fallen back and not used that, or they've just done other things for kind of routine type games, I guess. But from that point of view, like I think we both enjoyed that aspect so much that we could really show people what was going on. And I think there was a few things where the person we were certainly working for at those kind of times was like, oh, that's going really, like you're doing so much, you're doing 3 different jobs or whatever at once. I was like, yeah, but like it's so automated now for us to be able to try and do that. We don't need 20 different controllers. So like, why not basically? Why not kind of do that? And I think there's people that were higher up in the organizations that really enjoyed that as well. And I think the viewers showed that on top of it, because we could, as we have like, breaks in play and other things, we could put those clips in. And that was the big thing that just like, everyone loved it basically.
exactly. And like the clubs that have sponsors really love it because you can put any sort
Oh
of
yeah,
video between the breaks, and they
yeah,
love that
yeah.
because it's like we can, you can. There's so many different ways you can do sponsors now on a live
Yeah.
stream. It's like graphic, video, bodies. We did body surfing recently, and they actually called in some of their sponsors, and they just put them on the commentary mics, and they interviewed them.
Yeah.
Sections of the day, and then people who were from breweries would come in, and they would like bring their beers in and show them the beers and all that. Like, so sponsorship's not just so much putting a image on screen. It's so many other things you can do on a live stream.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of that,
it's
because
quite
that's then a good like segue into that kind of thing, then Michael, because this is obviously like I mean this is Sunshine Coast Bodyboard Club when we did that latest event,
Yep.
and I'm sure this will be like we can probably break this down in a future kind of episode more so about how we kind of went. But like I mean before we did all of this, like bodyboarding was pretty new to you, wasn't it? Like there wasn't a lot of awareness or anything.
I didn't know anything about body surfing at all.
Yeah.
I knew nothing.
Yeah, like I mean, I'd grown up with it, and I'd grown up with surfing, but like I think you were more of a ball sport kind of one from there. So
But yeah, it was mine was just cricket and AFL. That was it.
yeah.
That was it for
So I
me.
mean, with this kind of scenario there, like we're at one of the beaches at Curramundi there, or near Tikalaunda anyway, on Sunshine Coast, and
Yes.
we've got our like gear set up, and yeah, so the part there on the right was where the commentators were. So we had those two mics in there, we had the headsets, they had the sponsors coming in, I guess, as well. And then, yeah, we just had all the cables running around there. But I think that was a really good way to show, because we can see your camera kind of on the right there, pointing in on them is just like the opportunities for us to cut to that kind of stuff and to add it in there.
Yeah.
And
We
that doesn't,
had a nice wide that day too.
yeah, doesn't take as much. That's the thing. Like,
Well, that's the thing. People would look at this image and they'd be like, "Oh, that looks like a pretty decent setup." And then, like, because I would sometimes come
yeah,
on our streams and I would think, "Oh man, look at all of this." I'm like, I don't even know where to start and begin. But like, you look at it, and it all just sort of makes sense as well. Like all that setup, and it's really not that hard. It just looks a bit overwhelming just with the cables, but no.
Yeah, I think it's just so many connections from that point of view. I mean, the other one is like when we've had a lot of other bodybuilding stuff. Like this one here is basically when we were down the Gold Coast, and I mean that like Sunshine Coast there was great because we were on a raised platform essentially as an observation deck. But then like that's great. If we could do that more often, that'd be great. But like this is something we've done for a while, which has been on the beach actually for the last couple of times. And like I mean, you look at this and you're like, oh, the cables and whatever. And it's like, yeah. But I mean, like I brought a tarp that day so we could cover from the sand. We got the tables on top of it. We've got a little live view down the bottom there that was like, I mean, we couldn't have got out our stream that day, I think, without the redundant kind of streaming that was going on, because we had about 4 or 5 devices connected up to that there that day. So like that location, you can see all the Netgear Nighthawks that are sitting up on my laptop and stuff. But
so was that the same day we had the massive? Was that the same day where the wind was really strong and there was a lot of sand?
Nah, so that was D-Bar. That wasn't the latest one.
Oh,
So that was the state titles one that we did down there. So we do a lot of work with the Gold Coast Bodyboard Club for that. And then they're really great at organising. They get a lot of sponsors and stuff around. So that didn't have much wind. That was just cooler because that was kind of later in the day than anything else. So yeah, that was pretty good from there. I don't know if I've got another photo to go for the other one though, but like I mean we just had to blow sand out of the gear lately when we've gone down there and we were at Tuga and it was whipping up the whole time, and it's like, like we still got it done. We had no issues. And you don't want sand everywhere, but at the same time, like that's the gear that we've got to use. So that's the point really. At the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess when we think about some of this stuff, so I mean we're based Southeast Queensland, but we do travel around obviously if we need to, and we're quite mobile. Like a lot of our gear is just all kits and bags pretty much. So I know a lot of people will be kind of, oh, I've just got one camera and then I connect this up and then we all do it on the cloud. It's like, yeah, we can do that, but you can't do live replays doing that. Like you can't offer those kind of services and still have in-house. So like when we look back at, I think the other telling one was this one here. When you look down the bottom left of this picture, there's that screen that's there. That was one of our little 15, 16 inch kind of screens that we got running off a USB power supply. Like that's literally live straight from our mix, essentially from NV mix and everything else, straight out from our Hyperdeck. So so it's really high quality 1080, and then that's the stuff that's going out to YouTube. So you're not getting this like 30-second, 60-second delay before people can see what's going on. Like they can watch that live. They were requesting replays from us that they wanted of different waves during the day. Like, we did all of that, and I think the Future Pros, which was the juniors event that we just had recently, kind of really exemplifies that. That everyone really kind of enjoyed that at the end of the day. So yeah, travel for us is an option. We've certainly got other things that we're thinking about doing in terms of making that easier to get around and do that kind of stuff, I guess.
And yeah, you're right, and it is making people's jobs easier. It's making judges' jobs a lot easier,
Yeah.
and it's actually going to start making what makes coaches' jobs a lot easier
Yeah.
as well, because they get to they watch, because coaches obviously coaches don't always just have their eyes on the balls. They got to watch everything.
Yeah.
Because while we shoot AFL, we keep it sort of semi-wide, so because they want to see where the players are.
Yeah.
But it makes their job easier, because they would occasionally miss something. They would miss a mark or a quick goal, and we've got the replay for them. And so it's not just about making our job easier, but it's making a lot of people's jobs easier as well.
Yeah, I think when we instituted it in this last year with the replays into our usual AFL stuff, like I think they weren't aware probably as much of what we'd done in the past, or where we kind of what we'd been doing, and then as soon as we put it in there, they're like, whoa, like this is cool. Like you can see stuff now, and you can see the replays at the end. We were running all of that through the quarter breaks and the halftime breaks. Like it just keeps people on the stream, because the last thing you want to do is have people going off. Like you've got an event, you've got something that they want to watch, and then you don't want them just logging on and off the whole time. So you want to keep them engaged. And that's a way that we can kind of do that. And that's where the software and the hardware and everything that we've got allows us to do that. And I know a lot of people nowadays will be moving to say, well, we could just put a camera out there and shoot it back to home, and then someone will just do it all at home and it'll be fine. And it's like, yeah, that's good for most streams like that. But when you've got an audience that's actually in place, like for example, the coaches, like you said there, or the judges, or you've got, competitors or something else, because our eventual expansion with a lot of the bodyboard stuff is to have like kind of a competitors area as well, where they can kind of watch what's going on. Like the last thing you want to have is a minute or two delay, because you're needing to try and get it downloaded from YouTube the whole time, and then you've got to use more data, and then you don't have enough data, so then it doesn't have high quality. So it's like, and that I don't, we don't like putting out low quality stuff if we don't have to. So I think that's kind of, that's probably where everything's going, and that's where we can expand to quite easily with what we've built up. And I think that's where the aim kind of is as well. We've kind of had a few different ones, like some of the other jobs probably that we've had, like we've talked about some of the other wedding stuff that you've had done. I guess you're trying to incorporate some of that live streaming in there as well, Michael, probably like when you can.
Yeah, weddings. I have done a few funerals as well, which people can really appreciate. A funeral live stream as well. Weddings, funerals, graduations. I think that's another one we would like to start working towards as well. Because graduations, you can, obviously not as exciting, but you can still actually incorporate some graphics into some graduations as well. We get the names, we can put banners in. If, for example, we did like a school graduation, like a lot of schools now have got their own, social media and YouTube platforms as well, and they're starting to make some videos. So it's like, well, if you send us the files, we can incorporate that into the stream as well.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like we can put those videos in, we can put the PowerPoint slides in, we can put, you can put multiple cameras in nowadays so much easier than what you used to be able to. And run that kind of stuff away without, like, we've got wireless potentially, but like without needing to be wireless. And so you've got that extra protection. So you're giving extra options. And I think we can do that with we've done that in one car. Like it's not even, we've got everything else. We've done the whole bodyboard stuff we've done on top of it. And that's like still with extra gear, because we always bring extra stuff just in case. Yeah.
But we've got no vans. We've got no vans.
I'd really like a van. A van would be nice for that kind of thing.
A van would be great, but it's we don't need a lot, which is great.
Nah, and that's the way it works out, really. So I guess the main things is just like, so we had a good chat about how, I guess, what we got into live stream, where we see that kind of going and stuff. I mean, from my perspective, I probably see a lot of live streaming going more towards, I guess, integrating more things into it. Like I think the graphics kind of stuff is probably going to be easier to do stuff and do it a bit more remotely. I think I'd be hopeful that internet gets better in Australia, but I doubt it, unfortunately. So we just got to kind of work with what it is. But I think it's just going to get easier and easier to integrate probably high quality videos into our streams from there. And I think that's going to be, it'll be nice, really. But I don't think there's going to be big ones.
No, I mean, like, it's a growing industry, so we're pretty good with keeping up with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually we'll do we'll do 4K. We'll
Yeah.
start broadcasting in high quality image. But
Yeah.
that's just me and you. We're constantly
Yeah.
following up updates from Bird Dog
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
Live View. So it's what I think that's a good secret in the industry is just
Yeah.
same with even just photography and video production as
Mm.
well. Equipment is it just becomes obsolete so quick,
Yeah.
and you've got to just keep watching out for
Yeah.
new improvements.
Yeah.
That's just the era. That's just the era that we're living in
Yeah.
now, and
Yeah. I
and if it
agree.
makes things better, and especially if it makes things easier, then why not?
Yeah.
You just got to keep up to date always.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's the thing that we've been able to leverage from using a lot of digital kind of stuff rather than like anything analog. So that's been the benefit that we've been able to use cameras that are a couple of years old, or like keep using them potentially to make them work in kind of little situations that we wouldn't use as main cams. And so just diversify our angles and do stuff like that. So, I mean, we've got like, you've got a lot of Sony, I've got a lot of Canon, and both of those work together fine because we essentially just bring it down to a very digital standard. So there's not a need to have all of these really complex files because at the end of the day, with our gear, we're recording quite easy MP4s essentially. So we can play with them, we can do stuff. We've got high quality, like we're putting it out at a broadcast level essentially, and that's our aim at the end of the day. So I think that's for us. I reckon that's what keeps me driving and going, so that we can keep instituting new things and get new like interesting stuff out there. Which doesn't mean new gear; it just means like how can we make this look better for people and really make it interesting.
Yeah, and live streaming from a spectator point of view, or even a coach's point of view, or even from our point of view, it should be fun. It should be fun. You should watch these. When you're watching a match or a game, it should be fun, and we can make it fun. We put people on screen with interviews, and when we do live replays, it's we shoot in 50 frames a second, so we not only do live. When we do the replay, not only do we play it back, but we also, we slow it down if it's a good specky or someone catches a good wave for body surfing.
Yeah,
it's we play with the speed of it. That's what we always try and do. We're always trying to like find some way to improve it.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're going kind of next. I reckon that's like more of that refinement probably, and just kind of applications into different areas. Like I think it's when you hear like with the latest bodyboard stuff that we've did, and when you hear the commentators kind of going off a bit when they're like, oh, look at this, and then we kind of run the replay out quite quickly after that once, because waves only take probably 10 seconds really. So we're running that replay out quite quick after, and they're just like staring at this screen, and you see their after reactions of just like, watching it again, but it's at 75% speed, so they can kind of see what's going on. Like I think that's that great viewing experience, and that kind of gives us a reward, I guess, as well. That it shows how much people are appreciating it from that point of view. I mean, they talk to us afterwards and before and whatever, but when you see those live reactions of people that are watching it, it's like that's the stuff that kind of drives you a bit more, I reckon.
It comes with great satisfaction on our end. A good day of streaming it feels really good.
Yeah.
Really, really satisfying. Especially when you know that you made people happy.
Yeah.
As well, and you sort of whether it's AFL or body surfing, like amazing things can happen in sport, and like things that could only happen maybe once in someone's sporting career. Whether it's whether it's a good mark or a goal that would seem impossible, and it's like, wow, we've got vision of that for them, and like they'll always have that vision, and it comes with like a screaming commentator on how cool that was.
Yeah.
Like, and they get the replay of it, and it's digital, so not it's there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there forever, and it's like, wow, it's a good feeling that we can do that for people. Like, give them a really good memory of the best day in their sporting life, and that gives us some we get some good gratification for that.
Yeah. I think that's the one that gives you the butterflies and stuff like that when we're there and we're streaming and something's going on and you can tell that it's going on. Like, I mean, some of the grand final stuff that I remember when we've been part of and whatever is just like you're sitting there and like you're watching it and you're doing stuff and you're outputting it and you're doing replays and everything on top of it, and like you see people making comments and to each other and like saying, oh, that's so great, or that's this and that. And you get the the people that are organizing it coming up and being like, wow, that was so awesome. And they can go back on it. They can look at it straight away, literally like after we finish the stream. They can even, I mean, on YouTube, you can even pull it back as you go, but they can watch it straight away afterwards, and they can get that immediate review, that immediate gratification, that immediate just reward. And I think that's the awesome thing of when you do this kind of stuff, is that that's what you can see. And that's really makes it worthwhile at the end of the day, I would say. Instead of just sitting there and being like, yeah, exactly. Instead of just putting a camera up and putting an image up and being like, yeah, but it's on the internet. It's like, no. Like, we want to do 1,000 times that. Like, we want to do so much more on that and make it look so good to you that you want to keep watching this. And that's what absolute streaming has been for us. Like, when we were talking about kind of, like, we'd done stuff together and done other things back and forth, but then we were talking about kind of getting together and doing stuff. And it's like that shared vision, essentially, of just that we want it to look really good. Like, we want the client and the people that we're working for to have something there that they really enjoy. And it's not just a record. It's like, no. Like, this has integration with a few other things. This has maybe different angles. This has other stuff that no one else is probably going to give you straight away, but you get it with us. And this is what we do. Like, we do it high quality and we do it for you straight away. Like, that's the aim. So
exactly.
Goes into it.
And at times it does create opportunities for other people as well. So for commentary, a lot of our commentators, they're volunteers, and like, they start loving commentary. They start loving it, So it's now, and like, some of them as years have gone by and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And they just love doing it. So it's created a few opportunities for people.
Yeah.
As well. And I think that's what it's about as well.
Yeah. And I think that's our interest as well, is like potentially promoting this kind of other people on top of it, is just like getting them opportunities and growth and vision and all of that, like within that matrix of what we do, to say, look, we can expand on this, and this is what we can do with other people that have other talents in other areas, like for commentary, like you said, or whether it's if they wanted to do other cameraman stuff or whatever. And I think that's where we see great growth in this kind of scenario in doing that. So instead of just picking up lots of little jobs and doing all that, like it's going, well, how can we make something that's longevity? How can we help people to grow with this kind of stuff and still and then they get inspired by it. Like, I think that's the best part that comes out of it. Like, the more that people can be inspired by the work that they're doing, and if we can facilitate that and give them a really high quality product, then I think that's a great aim. I think that would be, people are going to love that at the end of the day anyway. I think as we go on with this kind of series, probably like gear for us will be more and more discussed. Certainly we've got a lot of different varieties that we go about, and then we can specify different things as we kind of go.
Absolutely. And then we'll bring some stories, things that we learned from. Not saying that we failed, but things that we've learned from.
Look, there's always things that go wrong sometimes. Like, I think there's never going to be we get less and less wrong nowadays compared to maybe a couple of years ago, but that's only because we know and probably how we've grown from what we've come from. And so we've got gear that then makes it less error prone to us. We've got planning that we know, don't do that because it'll do this, or that kind of stuff. And so we've come from those eras where things have been a bit more basic, and now we've been able to expand, and that's been good. And I think we've shown that we can, like you said with the AFL stuff, is like, we hardly see those guys. Like, they literally see us at the start, let us into rooms or whatever, and they see them at the end, and we give them footage, and they're just like, cool, that's great. And they've got a big smile on their face because that's all that they want. Like, they just want stuff to work. They don't want excuses or other things. Like, we will make stuff work. That's the aim of what we do. So
and sometimes we make it work in pretty challenging conditions too.
There's a few things. I'm trying to look up. I mean, I'm wondering if I can find some of these photos here. It's like, where's one of these photos that I can pull up potentially? So there's
the one from Bond. The one from Bond last year would be a good one.
Which one's that?
We shot one of the women's finals in Bond at Bond University.
Oh yeah, I don't have one of those photos unfortunately, but it's like, it's just, it happens, and there's not much you can do about it. But like this one here, for example, is when we had I was doing one of our, it was a local community choir kind of thing orchestra kind of stuff, and essentially we were in it pretty much was a Faraday cage. That was where it was. So it's like inside this hall in a school, and it's all just built in with rendered concrete and rebarb and whatever. And you get no signal. You get barely a bar on a lot of stuff. And so this is me using 6 devices or whatever to come out with our live view. And this is with the Pro that we've got, the Solo. And they're just great. Like, this is what we've done. And like, we sat there at 6 megabit for a 1080p stream, or like 5.5 or 6, whatever, the whole time. And like, it's just, yeah, they were just amazed so much that they're like, yeah, can you guys come back again? Like, this is what, it's kind of like, because that's what it does. So, I mean, we've had super challenging conditions, and I think that's what we thrive on, because it gives us a challenge to try and say, how do we make it work? And we've done that.
And that's the only way you learn. That's literally the only way you can learn. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be, sometimes we're not prepared for, you know, some certain things that happen. And that's, you know,
and I think I like those challenges as well. I think I like the challenge as well. Like, you could easily just grab a camera and go record stuff and do whatever. But I think the challenges for us probably drive us a bit more to do better with a lot of that stuff and trying to show how it can work. Like, I mean, let's not talk about Labrador at all from a working streaming point of view. Like, I mean, this is a place that basically faces the wrong way from the mobile tower. And like that, the scenario to try and get anything out of that was just like, it seemed at about when was it? About like 3 o'clock or 3:30, like the mobile network would just decide that it's going to go to 10% speed or something, and everything just kind of drops. And like, we're doing high quality stuff and getting really high quality streams out. And despite all of this, like, we're making it work on top. And I think until you're in that scenario, you don't really know. Like, this is not something that you can just plan for. Because if you went down the road and you popped your mobile out and you went to go, oh, what's the signal strength? You would have been like, yeah, it's fine. But until you sit in that brick kind of building and look out over the field and do it, like, and realize that actually this is pretty black spotty wherever we are. So, in the middle of the Gold Coast. But it's just how it is. So, we're not always going to be in plentiful 5G area wherever we go. So I think the more that we can be used to dealing with struggles, and I think that's where bodyboarding's come really strong for us, because we've had such terrible mobile quality areas just because of land and whatever, because it's down on a beach and under a cliff or whatnot. But like, we've made that work, and no one has noticed that it's been any different to if we were up on top of a hill. So I think that's the great thing that we've kind of done. So I guess, like, with these kind of episodes going forward, like, there's a few things that we really would love to discuss. A lot of those have been from like gear, for example, and using those kind of things, like different approaches, I guess, that we've taken to filming different things and to what to expect with that and how we kind of, I guess, put it out. A lot of the other ones is, I guess, like, one of the tricky ones is always trying to help get people, as you said in the start there, how do they understand that live streaming is really worthwhile and it's something that is going to be really good for what they're doing. Like, that I think is the challenge, and that's probably something that's a full episode in itself, really.
I mean, like, it's always hard to pitch. It's always hard to pitch that until they actually see it, what's in front of them. Yeah, that's always. But yeah, I'm looking forward to showing those benefits. On a live stream. But yeah, it is about benefits. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then I think the testing of new gear stuff's always going to be there. Like, there's always going to be new kind of things to test. There's always going to be updates on gear as well. And I think, there's ways for us to go out in more remote locations. Like, that's where we've taken a lot of our live view and stuff lately, to be able to just test it out and take it out there and show what we can do with it. Like, for example, some of the other photos that we kind of get is, this is looking at kind of whales and other stuff that are around on, literally on top of Point Danger and stuff. And it's just like, it's just like my camera plus a 500mm lens and I think I had a 2x converter. There's like whales off in the horizon there. And, that's with my C100 Mark II plus the live views and a few other modems. And the mobile coverage is fine there, but like, you're not near anything else. And, that you're getting this footage of these whales that are way, way off, and are not really close. And that's what we can do. And I think the more that we've been able to show the stuff that we can challenge, and like, this is some of the concert kind of stuff that I've had, and then you've had some of the other wedding stuff, and I mean, like, you behind the camera and stuff as well with some of these. And that's at Brighton Homes, which, like, I'd love to keep filming there and streaming there, because, like, being in a facility that's built to try and stream and record is, like, really, really good, because there's a lot of places in Australia that we just don't have that, unfortunately.
That's one of our favorite. That's one of our favorite account. That's one. Yeah, we love that location there.
Yeah, and it's nice and cool as well. Got aircon in there and well, so hopefully it continues from there, which would be great. So, but they're good things to consider as well. Well, I guess like anything else you wanted to chat about, or Michael?
No, I think we'll save it for upcoming
Yeah.
episodes. I think there's so much we can talk about.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want to, this was just like I guess a taste of what's to come. And
Yeah.
I think we touched base on like a lot of things today. Equipment and challenges and past streams. But no, I think we'll save it. I think we'll save it. I'm looking forward to definitely going back down memory lane and talking.
Yeah, it's a few ones.
Streams and the good ones, then the challenging ones.
Yeah.
But no, I think I've wrapped up what I wanted to say. What about yourself?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty good. I think it's a good this is a starting point for us. This is about getting out there and showing some of our things and what we do. And I think it's a good start of discussion, really, for us to just say, look, we're out there. This is what we're doing. We're always growing. We're always building on things to make like a really high quality thing. We've got lots of ideas behind us. Like I think we've had so many discussions about things that we know that we can grow with as well. And I think then looking for those opportunities is the next thing for us. But I think the more that we can just put out some of that, the knowledge and experience that we've had and just show people that, you can do this kind of thing as well. And, if they're interested, then feel free to drop us a line. We're always at absolutestreaming.live. We're at absolutestreaming.live or Absolute Streaming, either of those on a lot of our social handles as well. Feel free to drop us a line, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And if you got any things you're interested in or wanted to chat about, like we're more than happy to try and look through them and at least relay them from our experience as well in the last few years on top of it, as live streaming's kind of taken off from there.
Yeah.
But there's nothing else on top. I think I'll play a lovely highlight clip that you did up. I think that was it's really like it kind of stirs you a bit, I think, Michael. But we'll play that one out. And I think, until next time, like we'll chat between. But I think until next time, we've got a few topics to discuss. And I think we'll go from there.
Yeah, happy to do it.
No,
Looking
all
forward
good. Alrighty.
Ready.
All right, we'll chat to you guys later.
See you guys. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
To do a big shout out to Absolute Streaming for making this live stream possible.
Broadbeach Cats 2021 QAFL Premiers.
Big shout out to Absolute Streaming, absolute legends.